Imagine controlling something robotic just by moving your finger. Sounds futuristic? Well, let me show you something wild. This little gadget here is a $50 smart ring designed for fitness tracking. But today it's going to do something it was never meant to do. Over here I got a robotic hand. And with a bit of hacking, I'm about to make this ring control that hand. Ready to see how far you can push everyday tech? Let's get started. I always like the idea of controlling robots with gestures instead of a remote control, since it just seems more natural. Building the hand itself is also a pretty cool robot project, but that's coming in a future video. Today, it's all about the ring. All code you need to follow along yourself can be found in this GitHub repo. This is the Colmi Smart Ring, and you can buy one for about $50. It can track heart rate, sleep, sport activities and blood oxygen, and they even claim it's waterproof. You configure the ring and read its data through a companion app called Q-Ring. The ring itself comes in different versions that more or less can track the same thing, but the newest one, R12, even has a tiny screen and a touch sensor, which I think is seriously geeky cool. But the important part is it talks Bluetooth, the hackable kind. Most smart devices protect their Bluetooth protocol by encrypting data between the device and the companion app. This, not so much. You can connect to it, you can poke it with commands, and it will happily spill all its secrets. But what I really want to achieve is live streaming of the accelerometer data from the ring. This ring fortunately has a command that starts streaming sensor data in real time, or at least once per second. You can get it to stream data more often by flashing custom firmware, but for this video I will just use the ring as it comes out of the box. Quick Bluetooth lesson. Classic Bluetooth is designed for continuous high throughput data streaming, like streaming data to headphones, but it has a high power consumption. Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE, is the introverted cousin. It doesn't talk as much, but it's very efficient. It's a newer standard officially introduced in 2010 and is intended for devices that have small batteries like fitness trackers. A BLE device like the ring works as a small server that continuously captures data and stores it in the ring's memory. When the companion app wants to read data from the ring, it will send a request and the ring will send the data back. If you want to look it up, the server protocol used in BLE is called Generic Attribute Protocol. Because the ring is an unencrypted BLE device, we can scan for it, we can connect to it, and we can read its data, if we know the right commands. Our first step is scanning for BLE devices. Scanning is done using Python and an open source Bluetooth package called Bleak. Although the code is very simple, my ring simply refused to show up in the list. After several attempts, I was ready to give up until I realized that the ring was still paired to my phone. Disconnecting from the phone solved the problems, and yay, happy days. The ring finally shows up and I could continue. To communicate with the ring, I need its address. This is a unique value for every device and is shown when we scan for devices. To send commands to the ring, we need to understand the Bluetooth protocol. For most BLE devices, this means sending a command as a series of bytes and waiting for the device to send another series of bytes back with the requested data. But how will I know what bytes to send and what data to get back? So most people making products will not share their protocol details, so you need to figure it out on your own. A common approach to hacking Bluetooth is to use sniffer like this one together with a tool called Wireshark. Wireshark is an open source protocol analyzer that together with the sniffer can show what data is sent between two Bluetooth devices. In this case, between the Q-Ring companion app and the ring itself. Using this approach, you can reverse engineer the ring's protocol to figure out the commands. If you want to see another video on how to use the Bluetooth sniffer, let me know in the comments. Before trying to reverse engineer a device yourself, I highly recommend doing a thorough Google search to see if you can find some hints about how the protocol is working, and it will save you a lot of time. I did find a few good articles on Colmi's protocol to get me started. It seems most Colmi devices receive commands in a 16-byte structure. The first byte is typically the command and the next 14 bytes is data. And the last byte is a checksum of the other bytes. When the ring has processed that command, it will send one or more 16-byte structures back with information. The first byte in a return package is typically the same as the requested command, so you know what the package contains. The first thing I wanted to try was reading the battery level, which should work since the companion app can do that. It is command code 03. The byte string to send should look like this. To call a BLE device, you need the ID of the services it offers. The two services we will use is the service to send commands and the service ID to enable notifications. We also need to create a callback function that handles packages from the ring and decodes them. In our main program, you simply initiate the BLE client with the ring's address, register the callback and send the battery command. And behold, we got a response back. So here we can see the battery level, which matches the battery levels it shows in the companion app. And yes, it works. I'm super excited. This quick result did give me some false confidence for the rest of the project though. The next thing I want to try is streaming of raw data from the ring. But the commands to initiate streaming is not listed in any of the articles I found. And since continuous raw streaming is not even a feature in the companion app, it's not an option to try to sniff it and find the command. After a lot more Google, I found an article stating that A104 will start streaming raw data and A102 should stop it. The start streaming command seems to work since the ring is suddenly blinking like crazy. But when I try to stop it again with the A102 command, it really doesn't work. It just keeps blinking no matter what I do, and in the end I had to send a reset command to get the ring to reboot. And even after more research, I just tried various commands and got super lucky and found that A105 stops the raw streaming. I think I managed to find one of the small differences in the protocol between my Colmi R12 ring and older devices. And now I can start and stop streaming. So now it's time to look at the data returned from the ring. The callback from the raw data streaming is various packages from the different sensors once a second. A101 package is the oxygen saturation and A102 is heart rate tracking. But A103 is the accelerometer data I'm looking for. So now I have the data, but how do I decode it into something useful? Acceleration means change in velocity. It's defined by the difference in velocity from V1 to V2 in a given time frame t. An accelerometer is a small chip that can detect linear acceleration along the x, y and the z axis. When the accelerometer is not moving, the only acceleration you measure is the Earth's gravity, and we can use that to determine the orientation of the device. So right now gravity is only affecting the z axis. But when the accelerometer is rotated, you can see that gravity will also generate acceleration along the y-axis. Using some basic trigonometry, it's possible to calculate the absolute orientation of the device. I actually don't know how the accelerometer is physically placed inside my ring, but let's try to figure it out anyway. So data from an accelerometer is often compressed into as few bits as possible to make data transfer faster. I did find and try some articles that claim that Colmi Devices in general uses a 12-bit encoding for each axis. But even after several hours, I simply could not make sense of the values. So I'm starting to worry a bit here that my ring uses some sort of non-standard encoding that I cannot figure out. How would you solve this? I finally got a good idea. I placed the ring in some known positions, grabbed a bunch of packets from the ring in each position and wrote a very specific AI prompt to ask for help to decode the packages. And what do you know? I was instantly beaten by an AI chatbot, so much for my human intelligence. The AI suggested that my ring is sending data for each axis as 16 bits little endian encoded, meaning smallest byte first. It even gave me the Python code to decode the packages. Now we have clean accelerometer data and the rest is pretty easy. First I map data from the x-axis to produce a value between 0 and 100 describing how close my hands are. Then I can use that mapping in the hand's control code to open and close the hand to match my physical hand. And behold, it works. This is seriously cool and I love it. Thank you so much for watching. Today we turned a $50 fitness ring into a robot controller. What would you like to control with a smart ring? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to see how I built the robotic hand itself, that's coming up in a future video. So make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on. Stay curious and I'll see you soon for another robot build.